move on to the third question. This will go to Mr. Bach. First, given the budget outlook for next year, what would be your top priorities for increasing revenues in Chatham County?
That's an interesting question, and I get that question about increasing revenues all the time. And I'll tell you, I don't have a top priority for increasing revenues. Revenue is not where our problem is. Spending is our problem. Instead of raising revenues, we're going to focus on reducing spending. We're going to focus on changing the way that we do our budget. We're going to change the budget to a way that every single item in that budget is justified and is something that government should be doing in the first place. And by changing to a zero-based budget, we're going to be able to identify wasteful programs, redundant programs, and areas where we can make reductions. And I just want to clear one other thing up. When I say 19% of the workforce in Chatham County work for the government, I'm not saying we have too many government workers. I'm saying we don't have enough private sector workers. So don't hear me say I want to reduce the amount of government workers. What I want to do is increase private sector jobs. And that alone will increase revenue.
Thank you. I agree that the best way to increase revenues is bringing in private sector jobs. There's no doubt about that. I have no argument with Mr. Bach. It's well known that businesses, commercial activities bring in far more than they take out of the local government, state government, federal government, no matter what. So the whole thing that we need to do to bring in more money is attract businesses. We agree on that. We also have to bring in commercial activities such as retail. Right now, our property tax revenues are about 70% compared to 15% of sales tax. We have to narrow that gap. We need more retail businesses here in Chatham County so we can increase our sales tax revenue. Mr. Bach says he doesn't want to cut county employees, but I don't know how else he's going to do it if he wants to cut the budget. We already have 20% fewer county employees per capita than the average in North Carolina. We have 7 per 1,000. The average is 9 per 1,000. We have a lean and efficient county government, and it works. We had a survey done not too long ago, and we asked folks, and it was a pretty good survey. About 800 people responded, and they said, what do you think about the services in Chatham County? Are they good, mediocre? 88% of the people responded and said the services were good. So we have a good, lean county government. I don't think it's fair to take a position that we're going to cut county government further without saying exactly what you're going to cut. Mr. Bach has had this budget for 7 months. He ought to be able to tell us now what he's going to cut.
The fact is, we really haven't had the budget for 7 months. I can't get a line item budget to actually go through the budget line by line. But let me just talk a little bit about some of the areas where I think we can make some reductions. There are some positions within the county government that we need to reduce. And I'm talking about the department head levels. I've talked over and over about how we need to focus on our core functions. We have, in the last 2 years, approved 5 new positions that cost us about $500,000. Among those are the Sustainable Communities Director, whose salary, training, travel cost us about $180,000. We have just approved the funding of an obesity prevention director. That is not something that the government should be doing. There are several positions in that level that I think we can make some reductions. I think we can make some improvements by looking at that bus that goes from Pittsboro to Chapel Hill. Just kind of, if I've got some time, think about when we raise taxes. Every time any government raises taxes, it's for the children. It's for the schools. 1 penny of our tax rate is about $750,000. I just mentioned $500,000 in some department head level jobs. I mentioned about another $45,000 to $50,000 on a bus. There's some savings that can be made in the attorney's fees that we pay, and hopefully I'll get to talk about that later. It's about $200,000. That is over a penny of our property taxes. So when we raise our property taxes next time, let's raise our property taxes for an obesity prevention director, and let's see how far that goes.
Yeah. Mr. Bach, you're playing fast and loose with the numbers. The department that you referred to actually reduced the number of employees from 30 to 26. It reduced their overall cost. It streamlined government because it brought together planning, permitting, fire marshal, zoning, all these sorts of things that rather being separate silos are now working together, and they're working better to provide services for Chatham County government. I'm a believer in disease prevention. One of the major root causes of disease is obesity, especially in our children. It's the root cause of cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. We have programs that are doing this, but they're not working together. We need to get our schools, our health department, our parks and rec, our agricultural folks working together to deal with this problem. Mr. Bach may not care about the health of our children, but I do.
Are we going to have to take